So I get a lot of questions from you guys about how we unschool, what our day looks like, what our priorities are in terms of my kids kind of organizing their own education and leading their own education during the day. And I would say one of the most important foundations in our home and having and establishing like an unschooling home for my kids to be inspired and to learn on their own is through really good books. And I've told you guys about Usborne books for years. I've been buying them for years and building up a collection of books. I really like them because they're really well made. They cover all the different subjects. So I'm usually buying them a couple times a year. I like to buy them based on things that my kids are into, and then they will just pour into those books throughout the year. They'll create their own projects based on different Usborne books I get, based on interests that they have. And then they will begin to teach themselves about different subjects that they didn't even know that they were interested in. So I just wanted to show you a little bit of our Usborne library. So for my boys who love cars and trucks and things that go, over the years I've built up a collection of really great well-made books. I've got big truck books that have great fold-outs for them. My 7-year-old is in the process of making his own notebook about different trucks, the fastest train, all those things. And then these are really great. These are the Usborne Look Inside books. So I've been reading this to my my boys at night. It talks about all the different jobs there are in the world and things that they could choose to do someday. And then there are also these that we love, the construction site book. Once again, it's a lift the flat book. So I've got 2 boys out of my 7 kids, and so they really love construction and cars and things. So I like to get a lot of those books. Another thing that I do in our unschooling, because we do things pretty untraditionally, is once again have a lot of topics that maybe my kids aren't naturally drawn to, like math. And so I think I own every Usborne math book, and my kids love looking at them. I like to keep them all together. So these are some of the math books I have. When my kids are younger, like Whitaker's age, we can sit down and do these activities where they have to count the animals and they get to lift the flap and find it. And so it's a really great alternative to workbooks, and we can do it together. We've got the times tables books. So when they're learning times tables, they have lift the flap activities where they have to review their multiplication, measuring things. Multiplying and dividing is a really great one. So I just like their books because they're exciting, they're really sturdy. And then I've got a couple other ones. So when I know that they're ready for the next stage of learning something, as we're working through math, then I can just say, like on a morning, hey, why don't you go pick one of the math books and you can do some activities and word problems. So there's that one. And then we also have the adding and subtracting. So that's one category I use quite a bit. As you guys know, we're really into nature. A couple of my kids are really into nature study and doing nature journaling. So I keep all of our Usborne nature books here so that we don't lose them. They know that once they use them for project time, when they've illustrated with it and they've used it to write down facts, it comes back here. So I've shared these with you guys before, but they're just really great books that have so much information. We use the outdoor book all the time. We use the woodland book all the time. And then my twins are really, really obsessed with Bear Grylls. And so I think there's one more book we don't have quite yet, but they have just poured over these survival books and they've created their own survival book of the most interesting facts. And so we've got these. So just lots of nature things, and I like them because when I order my Usborne books throughout the year, like I said, I kind of pick things that my kids are into that different age groups can enjoy. So this is really great for my younger kids. And then my older kids might pick an animal and then look it up online and find out more information. So we love it for nature, and then we also love it for other science topics. So my kids that are really into gems and minerals, this is a recently new one I got, the periodic table, because I thought, okay, if they're really into geology, this would be a really great thing for them to understand. And so I'm starting to read this to my 7-year-old and my 11-year-old kids. Then that leads me into, this is a really great one that my Lego loving son is starting to get into that I can read too. I like these because, like I said, I keep them here and I just pull them out when it's evening quiet time and I don't have a lot of distractions from my baby, and I can really get involved in certain subjects that my kids are really passionate about. And that's the whole premise of our unschooling, is that kids learn and they retain knowledge based on the things that they're interested in. So I just wanted to show you a couple other things that I like for some of my readers. I have a dyslexic reader. These are really great graphic novels. My kids are wanting me to get the next couple ones. These have been really fun. They're just so many books, but I just love them. The Story of Inventions. I got this for a couple of my older kids that were getting really into designing things, and I wanted them to know the history of a lot of inventions. And then another thing that we're doing is this summer we're going to focus, as we prepare for voting season in the fall, we're going to start doing this one as a family once a week, the politics and government, and just teaching my kids about voting. And then there are two other books in this series about money and business. Last of all, I'm not going to show you all the books. One of my favorite things I've always done in our unschooling is try to have a quiet time in the day that when the baby's sleeping, I can gather everybody else and we can sit down and read and talk about a subject that we're all into. And then after we read, we usually go on my iPad and we'll look up a video or look up a little bit more in Wikipedia. And so this summer, we are doing a deeper exploration into ancient history. And so I am using the Usborne Timeline of World History book with my kids. And so we'll read a little bit about what's going on so they can have an idea visually of what's going on. And then we're reading through the short history of the world. And then from here, we go online and we look at more things. Right now, we're studying more about ancient Egypt, and so we're exploring that. And then we're also using this picture atlas to find Egypt and to see what's going on there and to see what kind of animals are there and spices and what they're trading. So I really like to use all of my Usborne books, from sciences to the arts when we talk about Renaissance, to what's going on with exploration and such. I just like to have a whole picture when my kids find something they're interested in and we talk about it. So that's our summer plan, is ancient history. And then we're throwing this in for a couple lunchtime meals a week. Famous composers, and they have a QR code on each page so we can listen to the music of that composer. And then we're just learning something about grammar and punctuation. So those are just some of my Usborne books in a nutshell. If you have any questions, let me know. And the one really exciting thing I wanted to tell you guys, if you've stayed with me this long in the video, is that, as you know, I am obsessed with Usborne books for our homeschooling life. And I've always just bought them, and I just recently decided to join so that I can buy them and just get a discount. And so I just signed up so that I can buy more books for my kids. And so I'm having like a launch party just for the next couple days. If you want to get some books, if you want to know some recommendations, I know these books really well because I've been using them for many years. If there's a subject that you're interested in, I'd be happy to send along some titles and names. If you want to order something, I'll leave a link in the next story. But anyway, I love the books. They are phenomenal for your kids learning at home. Let me know if you guys have any questions.